players that left the program. This was supposed to be Jeff Capel with the ACC brand, the Duke experience, getting them out of the Kevin Stallings era, which was a low point in Pitt basketball. And honestly, Bob, they're in the same spot. They're picked to finish almost dead last. I could see them winning only 1 or 2 games in the ACC this year. It's a very troubling situation for a once proud program.
We have a lot to get into. I want to get into more topics, but we also have a lot of people on the line, Andrew, so let's get right to them, beginning with Bill in Pittsburgh on line number 4. Hello, Bill.
Hey, guys. I just want to let you know, I think the NFL dropped the ball with the little slap on the wrist fine with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy, he put his whole teammates and all his surroundings in trouble with potential having COVID. And lying about taking the vaccination, I mean, don't you think that's detrimental to the team? I mean, he could have got all his offensive linemen sick with COVID and brought that home to their families. And here the NFL is giving them a $15,000 fine. Are you kidding me?
See, if you're going to do it the way that Carson Wentz has done it. Do it the way that Cole Beasley has done it. Just say, I'm not doing it, and I'll mask up and do every protocol you want. But Aaron Rodgers didn't do that, Andrew.
Well, the biggest one for me was that he went to a Halloween party, and he didn't have a mask on, and they took all kinds of pictures of it, which, look, obviously, what the rules of the NFL are and what, local legislation or laws are, 2 completely different things. Now, again, the same thing we were talking about with taunting. You want to get mad at the NFL because they're very strict on unvaccinated players, fine. You can yell about those rules, and Rodgers did some of that. But he wasn't following them to a T, and he got caught. So there should be discipline for that. And I'm with you, Bob. The fact that it seemed like he purposefully tried to mislead people, I don't think he should get suspended for that. But I do think his image took a hit because of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we have a tweet from Mark DiStefano. You can also tweet us, as I said, at KD Pomp, at the Pony Express. He says, another thing, in addition to what you guys are talking about, is when guys get up after a catch and signal first down. Act like you've been there before. That's like a celebratory sack dance, I suppose, on offense. Who knows?
Bob, I got a tweet here from a guy, he says his name's Luigi something on Twitter. I don't know if he's actually a paisan like you and me.
He's probably related to us,
He saw that clip we played going to break, and he had the same question I had. How did Steve Levy think that ball, you do Steelers preseason games, have extensive play-by-play experience calling games in that stadium.
From the same booth, by the way.
How did he think that kick went off the crossbar? That was unbelievable. Was he having too many Pinot Noirs at the game last night?
I think what happened was you can get sucked into watching monitors too much, and behind the goalpost, that monitor that they use often, it gives you a totally misleading read. Now, I know that booth. I'm in that booth all the time. So is Steve. So is everyone who comes into the national broadcast. If you just watch the live action, you'll see how far short that was. But if you're watching a monitor, you could get duped into thinking that it hit that. But beyond that, they also created a story that Najee Harris didn't like. And
because it wasn't true.
It wasn't true. It was somebody, I don't know who he's talking about, but that was not the way you wanted to end a broadcast if you're ESPN, I suppose. So anyway, back to the lines. We got a lot of them here, Andrew. Let's go to Brad in Bethel Park, who joins us right now. Hey, Brad.
Hi, Brad.
Hey, guys. How are you?
What's up?
Hey.
Do you really think this offense can sustain wins the way they maneuver? Passes behind the line of scrimmage. You tweeted last night, Bob. You said basically, developing story, look out.
Mm-hmm. I still believe that, even though it was not a good night for them generally. I still believe that because I think.
Look out for what?
No, I said developing story, a young offensive line getting better as the season goes on, and that was after Najee. No, wait a minute, that was after Najee Harris scored, and I saw a pretty good first possession. All right, and yeah, the rest of the game, Dan Moore got schooled. Listen, he's a fourth round pick playing at a position that's really difficult to handle some of the best in the games. I still think they've made progress. I still think by the end of the year they'll be able to listen. They've run the ball how many games in a row, over 30 attempts. That's a good sign to me, Andrew. Sorry, it is.
Well, I think Ben Roethlisberger, there's some compromise here that I give him credit for, because I think when they had that 3-game losing streak, Ben realized, or maybe it was strongly suggested or hinted to him, that he needed to make some changes in order for the team to get better. And I think some of that had to do with him not taking complete control over their offense. It's now much more balanced, as you said. It's not always big yards, but it keeps defenses a little bit more honest. And honestly, one of the biggest things that's happened to them is that because of injuries to Juju and Ebron, it opened up a bigger role for Pat Freiermuth in their offense. And frankly, among all of their offensive players, he's the guy that I want Ben Roethlisberger to throw the ball to right now more than anyone else. Now, maybe part of that is because when he was picked, I said that he was going to be the NFL's next George Kittle. I mean, there's a receipt and there's proof of that, but I'm not saying that has anything to do with it, Bob. But I saw greatness in him at Penn State, and I think we're seeing some of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, those tight ends, we saw Jesse James in the house last night. You know, Mike Gesicki is really playing well. They got a pretty good history of producing good tight ends at Penn State. We got to take a break here, Andrew. We got a lot of people want to talk, and I would try to get I wish we had more time. We don't have enough time here. Anyway, we're going to talk about the college football playoff.
Why don't we get an extra time sometime? Why don't we get an hour sometime,
We should
Bob?
get an hour, but then that would interfere with what we do at 11 o'clock on KDKA. But there's got to be a way out. We'll talk about that in future meetings. In the meantime, we'll take a break. More calls on the way right here live. Pittsburgh CW.